I'm Chris,
And I'm Daniel,
and this is our interaction project.
made by Group 1 in Period 5.
For this project, we had to create our own ecosystem and collect data from it, using sparks, sensors such as oxygen and carbon dioxide, and pretty much anything we can find within the natural environment.
And proscopes.
In week 1, our aquatic chamber had 19 centimeters of water, had a conductivity of 190.73 US, had a pH of 6.8, and had a dissolved oxygen level of 1.5.
And we observed that the aquatic chamber didn't really do much in week 1. It just became a little bit more cloudy, and the fish just grew a little bit. And the plant, we noticed that some of the leaves had been eaten off of.
In week 2, our aquatic chamber had 17 centimeters of water, had a conductivity of 201, had a pH of 6.6, and had a dissolved oxygen of 1.2.
In our qualitative observations for that week were that the fish had gotten bigger once again. One of the leaves from the plant was entirely gone, and the water level had dropped.
In week 3, the aquatic chamber had 15 centimeters of water, 201.5 conductivity, had a pH of 6.5, and had a dissolved oxygen of 1.3.
A qualitative observation for that week was that the spider had fallen into the fish tank. The fish was a little bit bigger again, and 2 of the whole leaves from the plant were entirely gone, and once again our water level had dropped.
In our terrestrial chamber for week 1, the air temperature was 22.5 degrees Celsius, the soil temperature was 24 degrees Celsius, the barometric pressure was 24, the relative humidity was 100%, and the carbon dioxide level was 39,000 ppm, and the oxygen level was 13,700 ppm.
For week 1, our qualitative observations were that the plant was very big, and that there was lots of soil, and the condensation was building up in the chamber.
In week 2, our terrestrial chamber had an air temperature of 22.7 degrees Celsius, had a soil temperature of 25.3 degrees Celsius, had a barometric pressure of 30, a relative humidity of 100%, had a carbon dioxide level of 38,726 ppm, and had an oxygen level of 13,786 ppm.
Some qualitative observations for week 2 were that the plant was still covering up most of it, condensation had gotten more condensed, and the soil was growing in a lighter color.
In week 3, our terrestrial chamber had a 23.9 degrees Celsius air temperature. The soil temperature was 25.1 degrees Celsius. The barometric pressure was 30. The relative humidity was still 100%. The carbon dioxide level was 38,717, and the oxygen level was 13,922.
For week 1 of the decomposition chamber, some qualitative observations were that the spider had taken over entirely, and that the web was filling the chamber. There was some white areas of spider web that were very thick, so we thought that maybe the spider had caught some of the other animals that were living in the decomposition chamber. We still couldn't see any of the worms, and the temperature in there was 23 degrees Celsius.
In week 2, the decomposition chamber was mostly the same. The spider was still king, the web was still prominent, and none of the other animals either dared to come out, or there were no other animals because they were all dead. And the temperature was 22.6 degrees Celsius.
For week 3 of the decomposition chamber had gotten very, very disgusting. The spider had died. It was in the water, which we were all very sad about, but glad that we didn't have to take it out. And the worms were clearly not in there and had been eaten by the spider, and the temperature was 22 degrees Celsius.
In this 3-week span of this ecosystem, there was an ongoing battle between spider and fish. They were fighting for control over the entire ecosystem. The spider would crawl from one chamber to another, looking to impose its reign, but the fish would have none of it, as the fish won, taking the spider down into the water and having dinner.
In conclusion, we see that we should always respect nature, and that ecosystems are very delicate and should not be messed with under any circumstance, even if it means further development for mankind.
If one chamber was to be destroyed, the other two chambers would not be able to survive because everything in nature relies on each other, and without one, there cannot be another.
So in this, we learn that we must recycle and do everything that we can to protect the environment. Thank you. Good night.